Hey everyone, SunTide here. Hope you guys are all doing great. I definitely am. I was just about to go to sleep actually, and I opened YouTube, and look what I see. They just released 2 new trailers, along with a website, for the new upcoming Rune Factory spin-off game, which they're calling Guardians of Azuma, with a projected release date of spring next year, which is like in less than 6 months. So yeah, that's super soon. I'm super excited. Today I basically just wanted to talk about these 2 trailers and the website, because honestly I don't think I can sleep right now without talking about this game and how excited it makes me. So yeah, I just watched the trailers a few times, read everything I wanted to talk about in this notebook, which you're gonna get to. And yeah, so basically this game seems super cool. If you've been following the fan discourse, you would have heard talk of this game. We've been talking about it under their code name, which they've called Project Dragon. And if you look at the trailer for like the first 5 seconds, it makes sense why. There are these massive dragons that seem to dominate the story and to be what this story is about. The game also seems to have much more of this Eastern aesthetic, which is very nice and very cool. Honestly, this game just looks absolutely beautiful. Honestly, much more than I think Rune Factory 5. I just think this Eastern aesthetic looks really good in this art style. Looks really nice. And yeah, we seem to be set in a new location, which they're calling Azuma. So Azuma is apparently an old word in Japanese that means east. So we are in the eastern nation of East, which is very nice, very descriptive. But it's also a nice and cool name, so I can't complain. And yeah, as stated, I really like this aesthetic. I've always liked the previous Rune Factory games, how they had this nice fusion of like Eastern and Western. Especially Rune Factory 4, like, you know, every Rune Factory game has this nice cherry blossom use and aesthetic, along with like the Western building designs. But here it seems they're going all out in the East, which I'm excited for, and I want to see, you know, how they do it. The trailer has a cool, has a few really cool things. One of my favorite things in this trailer is this character, this Wooly, who seems to be named Woolby. And in my opinion, in my obviously factual opinion, Woolby looks amazingly adorable. He looks so cute. I just want to cuddle up with him. He seems to be a woolly that flies and has these cool horns, as well as this blue orb. The horns seem pretty interesting, because if you look at the dragons at the beginning of the game, the beginning of the trailer, they also seem to have these ram horns and whatever else. So yeah, there seems to be some relation. Actually, the other trailer talks about that a bit. But yeah, so Woolby seems to be our companion and is factually very cute. Our character, so we also once more seems to be able to pick between either a male character and a female character. The male character, his name is Subaru, and the female character, her name is Kaguya. Kaguya will appear eventually. But yes, so we have Subaru over here, and we seem to be playing a new type of character called the Earth Dancer, which I think is really cool and really nice. So in the previous Rune Factory games, we played something called an Earth Mate, a friend of the Earth, and here we are a dancer of the Earth. I do like this sort of more, you know, spiritual aspect. I like this nice spin they're putting on a lot of the things here. It's really nice, it's really cool. And as Earth Dancers, we seem to be doing a lot of different things to make the plants grow. So rather than, you know, water, fodder, and seeds, it seems you're doing these dances, using these sacred drums and these sacred power cells to help make the plants grow, which is super cool and super interesting, and I want to see how they take that. So Rune Factory has always been pretty traditional in how you grow plants. So like you use your watering pot, you use your hoe, very manual. Which is really nice. It was almost the original in that sense, after Harvest Moon and whatever else. It's nice to see them doing different things. I'm not sure if I like it or not. I've noticed that a lot of farming sim games nowadays seem to have this sort of magic in growing plants. I played a demo of an upcoming Marvelous game in which you are a witch growing plants overnight, which is cool and nice. But yeah, so it's nice to see. I'm interested to see on how they'll do this sort of magic drum, how you're growing these plants with this sort of magic tricks, which is pretty cool. But later in the trailer, we see something that I think is really cool, which is a lot more of this sort of city building aspect. City building and a lot more control of how you're actually setting up your farm and whatever else. Rune Factory 5 had a few things going on with that. but they were very difficult to control, and I think that was a really big complaint among the fan community. So it's really nice to see how they've tried to make that, how they tried to repair that. How they tried to repair that and make that like a major aspect of the gameplay. I really want to play around with this. I really like these sort of city building type of things. So yeah, I'm genuinely super excited for this stuff. One other thing I really like is coming up, which is the mining. And we see that as we're mining, we have silver and stuff pop up. And what I really like is that these are the same art that they've used in Rune Factory 5. They seem to be using it again. And honestly, I really like that. I think it's a really nice touch. I've always liked how in Rune Factory 1 to 4, they used the same design for the sprites and whatever else. It made the game just feel very cohesive and as of one whole. So it's nice to see them bring it back for this new generation of Rune Factory games. Speaking of bringing things back, we have the return of this tree boss, which I've always really liked. It's always been one of my favorites. It shoots apples at you. In Rune Factory 4, you can ride this tree, which I always think is really cool. And yeah, we have what seems to be a cutscene in which we're fighting this tree. And honestly, these animations just look absolutely amazing. It seems to be a massive step up from any of the previous games. So I love that so much. And also, just over there, it seems like this is our one sort of screenshot / clip of actual gameplay of what looks like, well, what looks to be a boss fight against Lord Ura, he's called. We can see a few really interesting things. So we can see on the bottom right of the screen, Y is mapped to the attack button, and X seems to be this power soul dance. I wonder if that replaces the rune abilities, or maybe that's just like the watering cannon, whatever else. Really exciting, really interesting to see what they do with that. Maybe this is some sort of combat technique. What we see at the top of the screen, though, is this white gauge, and as the player seems to attack this white gauge, it fills up, and then it says stunned on the screen, and the red gauge goes down again. I think it's really interesting. That implies there's going to be a lot more of this dynamic gameplay to at least the boss fights, which I think is really cool. I always loved Rune Factory 4's boss fights. I thought Rune Factory 5 was a bit lacking in that regard. So if they add in more stuff to make the gameplay more interesting and compelling, I would always love that. This might be in too much nerdy detail, but actually this mechanic was in Rune Factory 4, and I think previous games, there was an invisible meter, where if you attacked enemies enough times in quick succession, they would eventually get stunned for a while. Actually, it would happen to you as well. But it's nice to see they're making it visible and making it a much more, like, seemingly integral part of the gameplay. I think that'll be exciting and cool. The rest of the trailer seems to be about characters who we'll meet. We can see their designs, and honestly, they all look absolutely amazing. I think this Eastern art style is a nice change from, again, what we've seen before. I think this art style works really well for these Eastern designs of the characters. And coming up shortly is, look at her. So that seems to be Hina from Rune Factory 5. So if you don't know, Rune Factory games tend to bring back 1-2 characters from every previous game. And here it seems they've brought back Hina, who was the little girl that we save in Rune Factory 5. She seems to have grown up. She seems to be wearing a Seed uniform, Seed being the society you were in Rune Factory 5, the sort of police ranger society. And here she is grown up in this uniform as well. I love her design here. It looks great. Everything in this game looks great. And yeah, so Guardians of Azuma, that was the first trailer they released as part of the Nintendo Direct. There's a second one as well. Ignore this Xenoblade stuff. So yeah, some more traditional trailer, which seems to be just showing a lot more of the story stuff, which is a bit vague. I don't want to go into too much, like, say too much without knowing too many things off of this. But yeah, it just looks really cool. These animations, this design looks amazing. We see little these dragons coming back up again. This is where we get the characters' names. So we see that this guy is Wolby, and we have Subaru and Kaguya, where we have Subaru and Kaguya. Their voice acting seems great in this. Well, later Rune Factory games have always had decent voice acting. We don't talk about Rune Factory 2. But no, it seems nice, and again, this art style looks lovely. And yeah, so I do really hope that this is like what the gameplay looks like on the Switch. as I think I might have said, so the website implies this will be released on Steam as well, on the PC, and Rune Factory 5 ran way better on PC than it did on Nintendo Switch. If this is Nintendo Switch hardware that this trailer is running on, I would love it so much. If this is on Steam and it releases on Steam around the same time, I'll probably just grab it on Steam. I think Rune Factory 5 ended up way better on Steam than it did on the Switch, if I'm being honest. But also, it's still a great game. We see more of Hina, we see more of the bosses and whatever else, which is nice. But I want to quickly bring us to the website. Oh yeah, and there's a giant woolly as well. We also talk about how there are these dragons that we need to save, so they might be recycling a lot of the story elements from Rune Factory 4, which is fine. Rune Factory 4 was honestly my favorite anyways. Yeah, so there's an English website and a Japanese website. The Japanese website has a bit more information. The English website, we can just see brief elements of the story, and look at this art. It just looks amazing. I just love it so much. It looks so good. We have the art, and we also seem to have the pre-release, the pre-order options, and this Earth Dancer edition, and you have that fabulous art piece on the top, and also a plushie of Woolby, and I need this in my life, and it seems like at the moment you can only send it to North America, which I am not in for now. Maybe I'll find a way to get this. I really need this. Look how angry Woolby looks. Look how, like, you know, so cute. Yeah, last thing I want to talk about, the Japanese websites need to have a few extra things. There's a few different, like, small animations and whatever else. But the main thing I wanted to point to is this box over here, which seems to have a bit more of the combat clips. And it seems to be quite different from Rune Factory 5, which is nice and interesting. So, for example, like right now, we see Subaru using a bow, which, to my understanding, has never been in the mainline previous Rune Factory games, unless you count the staff spell in Rune Factory 4, which I don't think anyone is doing. And yeah, so it looks like the actual weapons used are quite different. So you also see Kaguya as well using these magic combos on the Woolly, which we've never really been able to do before. Well, we had the staff, but it wasn't as fluid. It was quite different. So if you don't recall, in the previous Rune Factory games, we had a particular set of weapons. So we had like the short sword, the long sword, the hammer, the axe, the lance, dual blades, fists, stuff. I think that's it. But here it seems like we either get new things or we might replace things. We might have this magic, this bow, this sword, stuff like that, which I'm excited for. It might be a nice fresh spin on things. And yeah, a few of these things, you know, we see fishing again. And hey look, it's Hina again. I just love her design so much in here. It's great. So yeah, Hina as an older person with her seed uniform, it's nice. I do wonder who else is going to come back up from previous games. But anyways, I think that's it. I think that's all I really want to talk about in this video. As you can see, I'm just very excited. I just really wanted to talk about this. I think that's enough. I think I can sleep. The main conclusions, I guess, this game looks cool, and also this will be plushie. I need it in my life. I'm gonna quickly edit this down and upload it and go to sleep. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.